Hello, I'm back. I have to let my tea cool. This is my fourth video, an installment of philosophy continued. And I am warmer now. I didn't decide to close my window, but I did decide to put the covers on me. Just very cozy. And this will be my last video of the night. Where to begin? So gamification is very necessary and important. It's more important than what meets the eye, and it is deeply useful. And I do plan on bringing that in because I wrote a grimoire that is called Gaming Power and Alchemy, the Grimoire of Gaming Power and Alchemy, and gaming is a centerpiece to my puzzle game. And it is extremely important to think about gaming when it comes to existing, because if it wasn't for gaming, my mental health would be terrible. I know because I've lived without gaming before, and it was a misery. I searched up gamification, and apparently it's like this corporate thing, which I don't agree with. Corporate art, it's horrible. I hate corporate art. It's the most unhuman thing ever. They take the facial features. Ugh, oh my god, I can't. It's just terrible. so terrible. But gamification is very mysterious, because it's a new thing. You know, games weren't always around, been around for thousands of years, but board games have, but like video games haven't. Video games are a very new thing. We're still exploring what it means to be in a cyberspace. And I wonder what I'm to talk about now. I could talk about objectivity, which is more important to me than subjectivity. Because to be objective helps with the gamification process. Objectivity is extremely useful while gaming because it gives a person the opportunity to revamp information and stay objective above all else. And that is more useful because then you don't overly emote. You put aside your emotions in order to find oneself in the chaotic dance of reality. And that is very useful. Very, very useful. Sorry if I'm slower this video. I just took my medication, so it's kicking in, and I am attempting to make stories objective, which isn't necessarily good. I could change the subject too. I don't have to do objectification. kind of boring. Storytelling's far better. And let me tell you why storytelling is so important. Because storytelling defines characters in a narrative of God, or in a narrative of like world building. And storytelling cultivates the very fabric of objectivity in gaming. So it's like, how does one person become their own storyteller? And will that improve the inner monologue that a person has if they have one? Yes. And storytelling doesn't just help people who have an inner monologue, but it helps the other third of the populace who don't have an inner monologue. Because storytelling gives a person an opportunity to delve deep into sort of information. We have some amazing stories nowadays that concern objectivity. What I mean by that is like storytelling has to be one of the most powerful things that I've come across, because it can teach a person to be more objective in the face of danger. It can inspire the hero's soul to be ruthless and conquer evil. And that's very, very powerful, because it teaches a person how to be strong in scary situations. Things are trickier than that, though. Like, when it comes to storytelling is really hard to cultivate the right inner monologue. I've been working on that, and it is, for me, it must be harder because of my schizophrenia, but for other people it might be easier. I don't know if there's objective reasoning associated with that. I just know that it's such a tricky game to play, because you have to be a good writer, and writing is a talent exercised by only a few. But once stories have been written, and I think realistically, like reality shaping and like the functions of storytelling are supersede so much, because storytelling's everything. It's religion, it's science. By telling a story about a molecule, or by telling a story about an experiment, or by telling a story about your own inner monologue, you give the character a chance to actually be real. And I mean that by a character development framework. It gives a person an opportunity to revamp what they know and reform and fight on in a pursuit. And you get to choose what you become, right? That's the beautiful thing about character development. Kind of and not really, because the environment does shape the person anyways. But it's all quite tricky. Gaming stories is advantageous because it can allow a person to dream even if there's only nightmares, and it gives a person an opportunity during awake life to see through and filter through so much, and it's just interesting. I think, like, all in all, it is beneficial to sort through stories like a poetic dance of some sort. If you see through what you need to, you can exist in a way that's therapeutic or in alignment to character development, and that will make each second count more because the thoughts will procure an advantageous inner monologue and soul that um, aids situational enlightenment procedures. And all the horrible things that the nightmare can create and reality can create funnel and get controlled through development. So everything seems, it's like things seem more possible when you engage with your story. Like, maybe I can get that job, maybe I can get that boyfriend, maybe I can beat the quest or win the game or read the book. And that is that's something to consider. I mean, to stories like demodify overthinking, and that is the best thing ever, because overthinking, it tries to be objective, but it can't be objective through reasoning because there's so many delusions involved. And objectiveness is fighting programming, and is fighting the foundation of excellence because of science. And it's very confusing, but stories enlighten in a world filled with, it's also degrounding at the same time, but it can be enlightening. But degrounding in itself can be enlightening, and so it's tricky. It's like, what are the stories degrounding inside me? What is turning into fantasy and what is still real? That's the tricky part of it, you know. And it's hard to figure out, like, why is my life so hard, for example? There's a question people come up with when they're being existential, you know, and it's because it's overcomplicated, and it's you're thinking too much, right? And that overthinking is leading to so much misery, so much suffering, and so much pain that the self can't self-regulate anymore. And when it can't self-regulate like it normally does, everything in the mind caves in on itself, and the psyche loses its ability to properly process, like Alzheimer's or schizophrenia or depression. And it destroys frameworks that have been anchored for so long. And I do believe in anchors, religious ones, spiritual ones, scientific ones, because idea anchors can ground a person to the foundation of games and effective mannerisms, and it will help a person's emotional state when emotions get in the way, and when drama arises, and in stories, drama is essential. And that is important to acknowledge, because then you're not overly judging and you're not overly jumping to conclusions about something that you don't understand. You're just playing out the story. You're playing the character. You're playing the video game character. You're playing the main character of yourself. And that's advantageous. It's not good to think of yourself as a main character in all right, like in all rights, but because that means other people are NPCs and you can dehumanize reality with that. But when a person finds their anchors and lives to it, whether it's, many people choose God as their anchor, or love, or family, sometimes it's disappointing. My anchor is gaming, because it can't disappoint me. So it's a stronger anchor, because I can always game. When I'm 90, I'll be gaming. Who knows what I'll be like when I'm 90, though, given what I'm doing. But how to find anchors in a world so lost is so tricky. Most people choose people to anchor to, and that is risky because of cheating, divorce, abuse, and neglect. Those are real things that happen more often than realized, and it is much harder to tame than ours. It is very tricky to navigate reality when gaming isn't a part of it. Maybe that's also overthinking. These videos are overthinking in all extremity, don't get me wrong, but it's still important to engage with the side. If I could live my life, I would never overthink again, but that isn't realistic. But I don't enjoy realism. I enjoy the fantasy. Trying to be king even though I'm poor, because that is proving to be more fluid and energetic than the realism. I think realism just like gets in the way of progress and gets in the way of foundations and anchors, gamification and objectivity. But it's tricky. I mean, how does one perfect life? That's just not possible. How does one stop overthinking? Is what I consider regularly. Because I overthink every little thing, like, to a debilitating point. And what I think is the best for stopping overthinking is sleeping enough, eating enough, and working out. And that's all I'm going to say about that, because I'm going to try to practice not overthinking about overthinking. You know what I mean? Alright, I leveled up. Cool. Yippee. So I get to spend a talent point, which I'm going to spend it on this. And I get to train some skills. 42 now, this is great. I'm traveling to Moonglade, which is a spell I have. But it is overthinking is like my biggest problem in existence. Because overthinking makes money harder to deal with. Overthinking makes everything harder to deal with. Don't get me wrong, I have money problems, but overthinking gets in the way of me actually operating in reality, right? And I assume for other people it's the same, because everyone has a mind. And if they have a mind, then there's a susceptibility to overthinking that's just apparent. And it's apparent to everyone, because everyone's susceptible to overstimulation. And now I'm going to storm over my host. It's just tricky because overthinking, there's no direct solution except stop thinking. But how do you get rid of the elephant in the room? You have to stop thinking about it, and if you try to stop thinking about it, it doesn't work. So you just have to let time pass, and that sometimes doesn't work either. So it's really hard. It's way harder than it seems. Like, how does one stop overthinking? There's breath work, grounding, things like that, but I just don't care anymore, because it's like I've tried everything in the book. I've tried everything in my imagination, and the overthinking thing doesn't go away. And that's not me being unrealistic, that's not me being dramatic, that's just the foundation of it. It's like my overthinking gets in the way of everything, and there's no way to stop it, because I have a mind. Right? I have a mind. I can't end my life to stop the overthinking, because overthinking is anchored in life for me. And I do it way too much. And I can't even socialize well because of it. Because I think about this, I think about that, I think about this, I get too neat. There's so many things. And, yeah. This tea is so warm. Oh my god. Tea's like the best thing in the world. I love it. But, I don't know. Sometimes my mind stops overthinking. It feels so good. Like just the space of a second. Space of a few seconds. Like my brain has overthought so much in the past 4.5 years that I've been painfully overstimulated. And it's been so hard. But the gamification, the objectiveness, anchors, different things, they've helped me stay steady across the ages and steadfast. When a big problem happens, like my computer breaking when I don't have the money to fix it, if I stay grounded, I can think things like doing installments instead of just paying it all at one go without the money. So now that I have the installment thing in my mind, I won't overthink about it, and I'll just pay in installments over time with my credit card, right? But it's just tricky because things are so complex. That's the hardest part of things. Life is complex, so overthinking seems like a snap of the finger for stimulation, right? But it does not lead to effectiveness. You know, overthinking is damaging to the soul. I'm sure other generations have also suffered from overthinking. I know it's not just the newest generations that have come. probably something that humans have experienced across a long period of time, because it seems evolutionary on top of adaptive. And yeah, it does make sense. I just wonder, like, I wonder why it is so powerful. Like, why overthinking is far more powerful than so many things I've thought about. There's thinking and then there's overthinking, right? And it's like, when do you make the distinction? And how do you make the distinction? Because it's a powerful ability. Half health though, now that I upgraded it. So tricky. I mean, it's like, how do I stop overthinking when I'm overthinking? Is there a way? I just try to hope that my mind stops. Like, just let it end, you know? People end their lives over overthinking. I think it's the reason why people become suicidal. Is, oh, life sucks, realism sucks, everything sucks, and there's no point in continuing, stuff like that. And all that is overthinking. Animals are not supposed to be thinking about stuff like that. It's like, why is everyone overthinking all the time? And I do think it's because they're overeducated. I do think that's a thing. I think science has made people too smart. And I think it is making people have a very hard time with thinking through in general. This tea is so freaking amazing. I just want to stay up and drink this tea, but I'm gonna go to sleep after this video. I wonder why everyone is overthinking. And I know it's definitely psychology related, but you'd think with the advanced psychology knowledge, people wouldn't overthink as much, but it's just not the case. I wonder if there is a way to stop overthinking. I just keep doing things. Like, I just keep playing games, making YouTube videos, or going to the gym, eating food. And I do overthink when I do that, but it doesn't seem as difficult. I don't know, it just seems kind of tricky. Is there a solution to that? Or is that just science trying to destroy me again? I think that's science. why is science making people overthink everything? Like, that's not science. Science pushes people further into eureka, not deliberately destroys people's. It's like science is destroying people's science. Some might argue that science doesn't destroy anything, but that's just not true. I can feel it. I can sense it. I can sense that scientific involvement is attempting to reframe, reposition, and deground constantly with new information. I don't know. Well, I'm getting very sleepy, so I think I am going to stop now, even though I said I'd go to 11:20. I hope you enjoyed this video, because I am doing my best to try to help my viewers with these videos. Tomorrow's going to be a new day. I have way more energy. I probably won't film this late at night again, but I'll upload this one later. But thank you for tuning in, and I hope you enjoy the next one, and enjoy your rest. Have a good day. Bye.